Ok, clase, para este video vamos a hablar sobre el comparativo y el superlativo. So what that means in English is the comparative and the superlative. So just kind of like you did some superlatives for the teachers and the seniors did superlatives for the year, like the most likely to blank or best dressed, best blank. Anyway, so that is what a superlative is. So you already are kind of familiar with this in English, but let's figure out how to do both of these in Spanish. So let's start with the comparative. The comparative, and I have it in Spanish as well, is used in order to compare two different things. Not more than two, but just two, okay? So just like the name, comparative, compare, comparativo. So how to form this in a sentence. So you have to add más or menos, those words in red, before the adjective or the adverb, and then add que after it. So what does that look like in a sentence? So Roberto es, so noun, verb, Roberto es más inteligente que Pablo. Robert is more intelligent than Pablo, so we can, logical reasoning, he's more intelligent than him. Okay, so here's más, right? Here's your adjective or adverb, intelligent, and then put que. So más inteligente que, right? And you're comparing someone to someone. That's why it's the comparative. You're comparing Robert to Pablo, but not to other people, just two people. Let's look at this one. Carla corre menos rápido que Ana. Carla runs less fast than Anna, and I forgot to put Ann, I'm sorry, than Anna. So, again, menos, so más o menos, adjective or adverb, boom, and then que, boom. Carla corre menos rápido que Ana. Carla runs less fast than Anna. Tiene más regalos que su amigo. He has more gifts than his friend. He has more gifts than his friend. Again, make a little sandwich here, comparative sandwich. Más, and then adjective or adverb, and que. So if you look down here, más means more, menos means less, and que means than. All right, let's look at some more sentences. If I were to ask you a question, ¿Quién es más delgado, tú o tu hermano? Who is more skinny, you or your brother? You would respond, well, maybe not, depending on the answer. Mi hermano es más delgado que yo. My brother is more skinny than I. So if I asked you a question, who's the skinniest? Who is more skinny? You would say, mi hermano es más delgado que yo. Again, same thing. Más or menos plus adjective or adverb plus que. Let's look at this one. If I asked you this, ¿Quién tiene menos tarea, Miguel o Paco? Who has less homework, Miguel or Paco? You would respond, Paco tiene menos tarea que Miguel. Paco has less homework than Miguel. Again, easy peasy, form a sandwich. Más or menos plus adjective or adverb plus que. Boomtown. So again, here is just, if you want to see it in a formula, again, I've been saying it, but más plus que equals comparative of superioridad, which just means you have the triumph, you more than, right? So more skinny. And then this one just means inferior, less than, less homework than. All right, now what happens if you want to express, you want to compare two things, but you want to say, one's not greater than the other and one's not less than the other, but it's equal. It's of the same. Igualdad or equality. You could form that too. Okay? So how do you form this? If you want to express someone being the same as you in regards to something, using an adjective or adverb, use this formula. Tan plus adjective or adverb plus como. Do not say tan. Y'all know how to pronounce these vowels. Ta, tan plus adjective, adverb plus como. Let's look at that in a sentence. Again, tan means as and como means as. They both mean as. All right, so let's look at some examples. Juan es tan alto como Raúl. Juan is as tall as Raúl. So they're the same height, right? As and as, they both mean as, but you have to use them differently, right? So Juan es tan alto como Raúl. He's just as tall as Raul. Su casa es tan bonita como tu casa. Her house is just as pretty as your house. Okay, so again, tan and como both mean as. And you're forming it, look, you're putting it in the same place too. Tan plus plus. Yo soy tan inteligente como mi amigo. I am just as intelligent as my friend. Sorry, with a Y. Last one. Yo trabajo tan bien como mis hermanos. I work just as well as my brothers. Again, equality. You're comparing two things, so it's still considered to be comparativo, the comparative, but it's comparative of igualdad, of equality. Because you're comparing two people or two things, but they're equal. They're the same. Okay? Now, if you want to express equality without using a noun, this is very important. We'll discuss this more later on. Write this down, though, this formula. Tanto, tantos, tanta, and tantas, these all mean, or these rather mean, as much or as many. And como, again, means as. So if you want to, again, compare two things, but they're of equal value, or they show equality, you need to know what this means too. Tan, without the T and the O and the S, or the A and the S, just tan, again, means as, but tanto, tantos, tanta, and tantas mean as much or as many. So let's look at that in a sentence. Yo tengo tanto dinero como ella. I have as much money as her. As much. Tanto, as much. Hay tantos chicos como chicas. There are as many boys as girls. Ve tanta televisión como yo. She sees as many TVs as I. Tienen tantas pizzas como nosotros. They have as many pizzas as us. Again, tantas, as many. And this takes gender and number. So example, if dinero is masculine singular, this has to be. Chicos, masculine plural, that has to be. So on and so forth. All right, let's move on to the superlative. Just like you did in voting for teachers and so forth, the superlative is used in order to compare two or more things. So you're comparing them. You're saying they're the best, they're the worst, they're the tallest, they're the greatest, right? You're comparing them to more than one person or one thing, or more than two, excuse me. So for example, there are a few ways to form the superlative. Number one, el or la plus menos or más plus adjective plus de, which means of. So for example, ella es la más simpática de nosotros. She is the more, again, más literally means more, but we can assume it's most. She is the most nice of us. So she is the nicest. Robert is el menos inteligente de la clase. Robert is the less or least intelligent of the class. Robert is the least intelligent. And again, sometimes you don't need de in the formula. You can just form it like this. Robert es el más guapo. Robert is the most handsome. So el más. The key thing is here, if you are trying to figure out the difference between comparative and superlative, the superlative has this. Okay? El and la. Sometimes de, but sometimes not. But this is the most important thing. El or la. Because it means the. So instead of just saying more than blank, you're saying the most or the more, right? Here's some sentences. ¿Quién es la más simpática de todas las hermanas? Who is the nicest of all the sisters? The more nice, the most nice. Caroline es la más simpática de todas las hermanas. Carolina is the nicest of all the sisters. The more nice. Ana es la menos simpática de las hermanas. Ana is the least nicest of all the sisters. And again, all three of these have la, and it's not el because it's referring to what? Girls, girl, girl. Don't worry, we're going to discuss this more in class. All right, number two, you can also form a superlative by simply adding ísimo, or plural, ísimos, or ísima, ísimas to an adjective and even some adverbs. So think of this. Think of if you want to say something is extremely or super or really or very cool or whatever it may be, you just add that. So for example, esa comida es buenísima. Ísima. This food is the best. So for example, buena becomes buenísima. And you can add this to any adverb or adjective. If you want to say someone is really handsome, take guapo and say guapísimo. Guapísimo means someone that is extremely handsome, and that is a superlative. He is the most handsome. Now I have this chart for you guys just so you can kind of see and gauge the difference between the comparative and superlative side by side. Okay, so look at this. Mayor means older, but el or la mayor, the oldest, right? Mejor, better. El or la mejor, the best. So just take a look at these, write them down, and just know the difference, right? These articles make all the difference. So let's have some práctica. You can pause the video, but translate these. I am the most intelligent. Robert is taller than me. You are the best. And my sister is less crazy than my brother. So take a moment. Here are the answers. I am the most intelligent. Soy la or el más inteligente. I am the more intelligent, the most intelligent. Robert is taller than me. Robert es más alto que yo. More tall than I. You are the best. Tú eres la or el mejor. I put an option here just like I did up here because it could be guy or girl depending on who's saying it. You viewer back home, whoever you are, put appropriately if you're a guy, el, girl, la. My sister is less crazy than my brother. Mi hermana es menos loca que mi hermano. And there you have it. That is the video for comparative and superlative. We'll review this a little bit in class and then have some great práctica with it. Comparing people. Ooh. All right. Adios.